Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So, I was watching on Sky News Zach Palinsky of the Green Party talking. I haven't heard him before, but he certainly appeared more Labour than Labour. And he was talking about people over profit. And I mean, I know, like with these speeches, especially people in opposition, they all promise you the earth, and then when they get in, it's completely different. And then it's like, oh no, we can't do that, and this, that, and the other, and all those great ideals that they talked about before that seemed like, yes, oh, why can't we do this? Seem to all vanish, and then it's all the normal things that the party before were doing, and the things that they were fighting in the dispatch box are suddenly the same things that they're propping up. Um, so it's difficult to believe or trust, in these speeches. But it certainly was a good speech because talking about, uh, the 99% versus the 1%, lots of things that that would be good if that was the case. But the problem is, and I suspect, is if Zach Palinsky of the Green Party did get in power, then the problem would be that the 99%, the 1%, sorry, would be the people he'd have to work with. Because unfortunately, and this is the problem with those ideals, and I believe in those ideals of, helping the 1%. But the problem is that unfortunately that 1% have power because with money and big business comes that power, and governments will end up working with those people and have to schmooze those people to get that money, because there's only, in my estimation, two ways of getting money when you have to have a government to run a country, and that is tax, which of course is very unpopular because people don't really want to pay for the things that that they really should do. I suspect if we really had to pay for what we really wanted, everyone talks about what they really wanted, our tax bill would be so massive. But the problem is businesses don't pay us enough to be able to afford that, because most people don't get a living wage that actually is um, capable of paying all these bills and then paying more tax. And of course, that's the catch-22 of that. Um, but yeah, that 1% he'll have to work with because they have power. And like sorry, that was the second way of getting money is working with these businesses and getting contracts for them. But of course, and their donations. But the problem is their donations, even though there's government rules and regulations of that, you don't get anything for giving money. If you're that, if I wanted to go and speak to a member of parliament, at a drop of a hat, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But if you were the head of Amazon or the head of Google or the head of Apple, or some major company that's putting a lot of money into the country, or lots of jobs, then I'm sure they'd be able to get the ear of the premier. And that's where this sort of all mixes, because they'd be able to give their ideas, and then they say, "Oh yeah, that'd be great for the country. Yeah, how much money will we be bringing in? Oh, that yes. Well, we must do that because they know they can't make the tax go up because that would be very unpopular, and no one will vote because that's the problem. You have to convince people to vote for you, and the problem is um, they want everything, but everyone wants everything for free. But of course, that's the problem, because the real problem is the reason why we can't, why these phrases like Zach Palinsky's won't work, is because the stumbling block to all these arguments is money. Why there's money, which has power if you have it, and titles and this that kind of stuff, and historic things, like the royalty and landowners and businesses that are passed down. Why there's all of that investment, which is intertied within governments around the world, you'll never be able to have these ideals of looking for after the 1% over the 99%. Because 1%, want to keep their money, I suspect, and want to keep their power and don't want equality, which is what these things are talking about. Well, actually, it's favoured to the other way. But so if you then if you're not going to raise the taxes and you're going to charge all these rich people, all these rich people will just go elsewhere where there aren't these tax implications, and then obviously then we go into recession, then everyone's poor and everyone blames you, and then they have to then vote for the company that will schmooze with the businesses and bring them back. And so it's like the real problem is money. Until we get over that, and you know, that we get over with this idea of money, which is a man-made construct and is, like I say, shackling us, you know, figuratively in any way, is actually shackling us because, you know, we are free to do whatever we want to do, and we've chosen this because of history and thousands of years ago, how people were possessive and greedy, and the things I always waffle on about on Pursuit of Truth. But I was thinking in the car today, maybe this solution will be with the AI. Once we have AI, once we have, you know, robot AI, once we have the ability to have them, which I'm sure is happening already, of taking over jobs because they're more efficient and because they don't need to be paid or fed or watered or all that kind of stuff, until they're given consciousness, and then they have rights and they kill us all like a Terminator or something. But assuming that doesn't happen, Asimov's iRobot, assuming that doesn't happen, then that will free us up, because we won't have jobs. The reason why we have money is to keep us working, isn't it? You know, that's the incentive to keep on that hamster wheel. But we won't need that anymore. And so hopefully by having AI doing all these things, it will free us because we won't have anything to do. Well, the government will either give us all benefit because where would we get the money if there's no jobs? Can't all be homeless, 50% of us, although some countries are like that. So I assume that eventually then we would restructure and think, well, we don't need money anymore because, you know, the AI is working for us and everyone else wants to do things because they want to do things, because human beings want to create and want to do things and help each other. You know, I think that's an intrinsic part of us, or it's a learnt good part of us, not the bad parts. And hopefully eventually through time, then we won't need money, and then we'll be able to solve all these problems. And you know, hopefully AI will assist us in that, in suggesting that actually, you know, you don't need money. You do know that you're free to do whatever you like. And these constraints that you put on yourself are from people thousands of years ago that couldn't think ahead. And now you need to reevaluate your life and existence. And then we won't be looking at 99% or 1%. We'll be looking at 100%, 100% of everyone, and not all these borders and divisions between humanity that we've created and that cause all of our suffering. In many ways that I can't even detail, but yeah, that was what I was thinking today. So I wish that would be the case, but unfortunately I don't think that, no matter how great Zach Palensky's words, which if I find a clip I'll stick on the end, I wish that if he was in power that he would be able to do it, but I suspect he would be, you know, like the same with Tony Blair, where everyone thought, well, yeah, this is brilliant, until he met George W. Bush and Iraq and Afghanistan happened. It will be the same thing, or like, you know, when he introduced, you know, fees for universities and etc. All these policies that they talk about, the minute they get in power, is then the reality of, well, actually, we need money, and where we're going to get this money from, because unfortunately, to run a country, you need money. That's, you know, that's why that's a problem. And then, well, who's got that money? Well, unfortunately, the 99% don't have much of that money, and if you're trying to get it from them, they're not going to be very happy with you. So you have to schmooze with that 1%. And that's the problem. So yeah, take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace. What's your view?
So talk to us about how this came about. Did you approach these councillors, or did they approach you?
I believe the councillors actually met Green Party members on protest, one particular protest around Palestine, but also speaking out on the cost of living crisis. The reason why I'm really excited to be in Swindon today is this is not a unique event. This is happening right across England and Wales, that people are saying they're not leaving the Labour Party has left them. And actually, if people want a party that will challenge the wealth of multimillionaires and billionaires, who will stand up for working class communities in this country, and indeed small business owners, and recognise this is a fight for 99% versus the 1%, they are recognising in record numbers that it's time to join the Green Party.
With those comments in mind, I'm minded to think about the fact in recent days you've been talking about the fact that you've had conversations with Labour MPs about defections. Where do those conversations lie?
Those conversations are going on both privately and publicly, and actually I'm saying the same thing, which is convenient, which is I'm not begging anyone to join the Green Party. The Green Party have record membership right now. In fact, by the end of this month, we are on track to have doubled our membership in the single month that I've been leader of the Green Party. We've overtaken the Tories in membership, so lots and lots of people are joining the Green Party. That being said, if you are a Labour MP and you recognise that this Prime Minister has cut disability benefits, has kept a two-child benefit cap, keeping lots of children in poverty, and is arming an ongoing genocide in Gaza, where is your red line? And if you want a party who offer bold politics, to be really clear about what we stand for, and crucially what we stand against, Your home is not in the Labour Party, and actually your home is in the Green Party. And I would welcome any Labour MP who shares our values.
You'll be aware that there'll be people that say, well, hang on a sec, Zach, you know, if you want to challenge the surging popularity of reform, if you want to kind of continue to push against the Conservatives, then are you at risk of fracturing the left? What would you say to those people that say, hang on a second, like the best way to counter this maybe is, with all due respect, Labour, because it's established and much, much bigger, rather than the Greens?
Well, the idea that the Labour Party are on the left is completely incoherent. This is a party that have done everything they can to protect power and wealth in this country and to appease Nigel Farage. Not only is it an unethical strategy, it's a completely absurd one too. If people wanted low-fat Nigel Farage, they would vote for Nigel Farage, not Keir Starmer. And history has shown us time and time again that if a Prime Minister or someone who wants to pretend that they're on the left constantly appeases the right by talking about Island of Strangers, by extending indefinite leave to remain, by protecting the wealth of the super rich, all that happens is people laugh at them and they go and vote for the right anyway. What the Green Party are doing is saying not just to people on the left, but frankly anyone in this country that wants a politician and a politics that is not in vested interests, that is not in the pockets of the corporations who are destroying our environment, destroying our democracy and destroying our communities, but a party that genuinely serves people, that stands for people rather than profit, then that party is the Green Party. And my only sole mission is to make sure that people have an alternative, that we can make hope normal again. So it's not for me to say to people, don't vote Labour because you're going to split the vote. It's Labour's job to offer a better solution. I think they're way past that point. People have lost complete trust in them. And that's why I don't intend to be concerned by Labour or disappointed by Labour. In May's local elections right across England and Wales, including in the Senedd, we intend to replace Labour at the ballot box.
You are having a pretty good time of it, like you say, with regards to your membership. You've got 2 members of the House of Lords, you've got 3 London Assembly members, yourself included, 4 MPs, you've got 800 plus local councillors, 3 more today in Swindon, 126,000 or so party members, so you say. So it's a pretty good time for you as party leader, and lots of people have seen your social media footage and reels and content about wealth tax, etc., and they will have just heard you talk about kind of your ideals. What else are you proposing to do to change the country? If people are thinking about the Green Party, what are the concrete proposals that you would be putting forward to make the change that you've just talked around?
Well, thanks for the question, because first of all, I am absolutely delighted in this moment for the Green Party and more importantly for the country. We need to balance that, though, by recognising people in this country are tired and exhausted. Our country is often in turmoil, and indeed the world has never felt so unstable. So at the same time that I'm delighted about the trajectory of the Green Party and the alternative we offer, I'm also very conscious to the challenges that people are facing right now. In terms of the solutions we offer, it's not just about a wealth tax. I think there's some very obvious things for the economy that could happen at this budget. If we brought capital gains tax in line with income tax, that would make a huge difference. The reason why that's important is right now we tax earned income more than we tax unearned wealth. To spell that out, if you're a cleaner cleaning a building, you could be paying more in tax than the person who actually owns the building. That is completely ridiculous. It doesn't have to be that way. That's the result of political choices. More widely, we want to make sure that there is proper funding for the National Health Service. Right now, at the local council level, 80% of the budget can be on adult social care. That indeed is deeply damaging to our communities, but also it's pushing huge pressures on our National Health Service, because far too often people are going into A&E or healthcare when actually what they needed was a public health approach with preventative measures, or making sure that in our communities there's other ways of making interventions. And then more widely, investing in our communities, making sure that there are libraries, there are community spaces. The right talk constantly about the lack of integration in this country. Margaret Thatcher said there's no such thing as community, but then a Conservative government and now a Labour government shut down our libraries, shut down our community centres. If people can't meet together, if they can't eat together, pray together, chat together, even disagree together, then of course there's going to be a lack of integration. And one of our #1 missions is to make sure we're investing in our communities, because actually that's the way to bring the country together, to offer hope and solidarity rather than division and fear.